Bangladesh just got its second independence from the dictatorial regime of Sheikh Hasina and her government. But the journey to this freedom was not easy. Lots of our brothers have shed blood, and we lost so many people. Even though the official count was 300 and more than 300, but the unofficial number of people that have been died is quite high, more than thousands. We know because we were there. I was involved in this protest from the beginning. When I was in my university campus in University of Chittagong, we went to the town for the protest, and after the curfew, our university officials, administrations said us or gave us notice to go home. So we had no choice but go home, and then we continued our protest from our hometown. Each of our friends started protesting from their own hometown, and after that so many things have happened. So every they created internet crackdown. They captured our coordinators of our student movements, and also they have captured opposition party members as well. So in this video I would like to give overall history about this protest, as I was there from the beginning in this protest, and what I have experienced. To go back from the beginning of this problem or conflict, I would like to mention the reason behind the initial movement. So the initial movement was never to bring down our government. It was basically about the reformation, the logical reformation of job quotas or job reservation for the people, normal students. Uh, before the before the conflict have happened, the reservation was very discriminating. Like in Bangladesh, the job quota of freedom fighter job quota was very discriminating and unfair, like which reserves 56% of position for various categories, including 30% of descendants of freedom fighters. So the Supreme Court eventually granted or reduced the quota to 7%, but it was too late. Lots of blood have been shed. So going back to the history, I would like to I would like to give a small discussion, day by day discussion about this topic. The protest began in Bangladesh last month over a controversial government job quota system and transformed into nationwide unrest following a harsh crackdown by authorities. Nearly 300 people were killed within the weeks in one of most violent phases of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's 15 years rule. So even though the number, every social media or news reporters and journalists have said that there must be 300 or more, less and more 300 people have died, but we know and I believe there more than 1,000 people have died, and including their students, their normal regular people, as well as opposition party people. So from the beginning, on July 21, before the going to beginning, I would like to say that on July 21, the Supreme Court scaled back the quota, which reserved one-third of government jobs for descendants of 1971 Bangladeshi Liberal War veterans. So even though they reinstated this quota, it was the time when it was too late. Like the main reason of this protest was basically about the quota system, right? So when they delayed the decision of this quota system, but anti-protest rhetoric by Sheikh Hasina, aided by police crackdown and attacks on protesters by groups affiliated with the ruling Awami League party, galvanized a mass movement against the Hasina government. On August 4, nearly 100 people were killed in a police crackdown, causing outrage. A day later, Hasina was forced to resign and flee the country, ending her 15-year rule. The anger was such that even the statues of her father, the freedom icon Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, were toppled. And on July 5th, the High Court reinstated the quota system, overturning a 2018 decision by Prime Minister Hasina's government to scrap it. So before 2024, in 2018, there also was a movement against this government decision of quota system, and they succeeded. Sheikh Hasina's government said that there will be no quotas or reservations for any other discrimination will be happened in this uh, job system. But again in 2024, High Court reinstated the quota system, overturning a 2018 decision by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government to scrap it. The court's verdict triggered the initial protest led by university students. So basically, the protesters were most of the protesters were from universities, as they were about to graduate and going to sit on the examination for jobs, basically government jobs that was very lucrative for every students. That government job will give them securities for their life. But the students stepped up their protest when Hasina refused to meet their demands. Citing the court proceedings, she called the protesters Razakar. Now, this word, Razakar, a deeply offensive term for those accused of collaborating with Pakistani army during the 1971 Liberation War. Okay, so Razakars were those who helped the enemy. So basically, this was the people who committed treason. People started protesting then. July 1, students start protesting demanding to an end to job quotas. And from July 15 to 20, by mid-July, the protesters turned violent after Bangladesh Chhatra League, the student wing of the ruling party, along with the police, attacked protesters in the capital Dhaka. The government soon shut down university and cut off the internet. At least 187 people were killed and thousands arrested in the violence and government crackdown between July 10th and 20. So between that between the period, it was the time that we have to go back to our home. So because every university had been shut down, and there happened a interesting thing that in July 17, protests erupted across the country on July 16 when a clip went viral showing at least two police officers firing 12 gauge shotguns directly at a protester. That protester was from Begum Rokeya University student Abu Said, from a very close range. Like 6 other deaths were also reported across the country that day. So when that video got viral, it spread like a wildfire. Like everyone started protesting, and the amount of students have increased. In July 18, according to NetBlocks, a watchdog organization that monitors cybersecurity in internet governance, the internet in Bangladesh was cut off by the authorities in an attempt to squash a nationwide protest. And in this crackdown, they started going home to home in Dhaka and searching for students that are protesting. Like they killed so many students in this period that nobody even aware of, because the internet was off. In July 19th, nationwide curfew imposed. Armed forces were recorded firing at large crowds of protesters who refused to back down. They are seen hitting the car with stones as it breaks up. Ex-user Zulkarin Sair, a Bangladeshi researcher, posted a video of Bangladeshi police dumping an injured student on the streets from an armored personnel carrier onto the road. The student is identified as Sheikh Yamin, a student of a Military Institute of Science and Technology, MIST. Yasmin was left to die on the streets. July 21, the Supreme Court scrapped most of the quotas. The 30% quotas was reduced to 5%, and 2% was reserved for ethnic minorities, leaving the remaining 93% jobs for all other Bangladeshis to be decided on merit. A countrywide curfew remained in place, with the military manning the streets, and students never backed down for this reinstated quotas, because it was the time when we thought that it will be very unfair to the blood of my brothers to accept this, and kept silent, because it was not right, and we had to do something about this dictatorial regime. We had to end it. So it was the time when we thought that it was too much, and we will bring down this government and bring democracy and freedom. July 23, partial internet connectivity was restored. A video was posted on X of two policemen shooting at an injured protesters being dragged by another unarmed man in South Dhaka. The police, one of them in civilian clothes, is seen shooting at them at point blank range. The student leaders announced that they would be suspending the protesters until July 24, a deadline which was later extended. They were kept captive. The government captured them and take them as hostage, and the media spread that they were held to for their security. Like they didn't need security, even though they kept them captive. In July 25, the protesters renewed their demands, which included the release of protest leaders, the lifting of the curfew, and the reopening of the universities. While they agreed that the Supreme Court ordered and the government subsequently acceptance fulfilled their early demands for reforming the quota system, the killing of more than 150 students, protesters, and nearly 2,000, more than 2,000 arrested, as per Associated Press tally, was not acceptable. July 29, protesters resumed, and the call for Sheikh Hasina to step down as Prime Minister was made. In this video, verified by Sanad news agency, heavily armed forces can be seen taking position around different parts of the city. A large crowd of peaceful protesters in Chettogram city is disrupted by an explosion that sent people fleeing from cover, verified by Sanad news agency. On August 4th, thousands of Bangladeshi protesters crowd into a central Dhaka square for mass protests, demanding Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina step down. While the army stepped in to help restore order in the wake of earlier protests, some former military officers joined the student movement. Nearly 100 people were killed, including 13 police officers, and dozen more injured as police fired tear gas and lobbed stun grenades to disperse protesters. The deaths were reported by the police and doctors on Sunday in the capital Dhaka and the northern districts of Bogura, Pabna, and Rangpur, as well as in the Magura in the west, Kumilla in the east, and Borishal and Feni in the south. We have seen many cases that the party, Awami League party, went to the hospitals and took those list of patients. So we didn't get the exact number of deaths and injured. So it was their plan, and we didn't get the exact number. Even though these numbers is not absolute. Close to 100 killed, as in August 5th, tension were heightened in the capital as protesters made calls for mass mobilization. In surprising twist of events, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party posted a video verified by Sanat agency of the Prime Minister's military helicopter seen flying from her house to an airbase from where she reportedly left for India. And this is how we got our independence and got our freedom from this dictatorial regime. So I wanted to say much more, but for the international people, I had to make this video in full English, and also I wanted to practice my English as well. That's why. So in our language, I could have explained it much better, but I've tried my best, and maybe I will do much more videos on this topic as well. So thanks for watching. renewed Bangladesh protest. Uh, if we uh,